Scenes from the Spectrum, episode 28. Harden was snubbed.
Here's Ilyasova. Here's McConnell. Can he get it off? Yeah! And the Sixers win it! 7 seconds to play. Iverson against Gill. The crowd on its feet. Allen for the win! Yes!
All right, episode 28 now. Back again.
We are I think we're pretty close to a year. Are we not?
I think it might be
Might
a
just
year.
be like March or something.
I think we're close. We're definitely close. Graham, how you doing today?
I am doing fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. I
good
am
to hear.
ready to talk some Sixers basketball. Again, it's a Friday morning for you guys that are listening or watching. If you're on YouTube, shout out to you guys. Have a great weekend. Same to you, Justin, and then Tony, who's producing. As always, Tony, how you doing?
Can't complain.
Awesome.
Well,
Tony, did you? Hit
I
your bet?
actually can't complain.
Okay, what happened?
I can't complain. We'll get into it later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did,
into it later.
did you hit your bets?
Are
they pending?
We'll see how the night goes.
All right. Well, it's a lot of stuff that has been going on around the leagues, all-star spots, Sixers games, trade deadlines. So Tony, hit the music. Let's go through it all. Love this. Sixers win. Outplayed games to the Orlando Magic. Embiid is an all-star reserve. James Harden, not an all-star this year. The streak comes to an end for James Harden. And trade deadline is only a week. It's only a week away. So a lot of stuff to talk about today. We can start with Sixers versus Nuggets because that was fun. That was fun to watch. Graham, let me hear your first thoughts on that game.
Well, the very beginning of the game, it was all Joel. It was just the Embiid show of where he went at Jokic, didn't waste any time. First couple possessions. I think he got an and one the very first play of the game.
First shot of the game, and one jump shot
over Jokic. Just absolutely phenomenal. Just great. Fantastic. Embiid showed up. I didn't think he would. I thought that he would try and play against Jokic and not against the Nuggets. And I think he did both to a T. Like he did both great. He played against Jokic phenomenal, and he also played against the team, against the Denver Nuggets. And that's why he had the generational type of performance where it's kind of what we're accustomed to now to see that. And I think it turned a lot of eyebrows and turned some eyes towards Embiid's way, which we've been preaching at for a year now, basically. So,
yeah, Embiid had 48 points. I think Jokic only had 23. Jokic with, I think, 5 turnovers, a couple of them coming down the fourth quarter stretch. One notable one when he's backing up in the post, and Tobias Harris just completely strips the ball from him.
Yeah.
I guess he doesn't have eyes in the back of his head like Nuggets fans say he does. But I don't say this too often, and you're rarely ever going to hear this from me, but shout out to Doc Rivers. He did win Coach of the Month for the month of January, but shout out to Doc Rivers for the defensive adjustments he made, which was putting PJ on Jokic and having Embiid be the roamer on defense because they were getting a lot of backdoor cuts, free alley-oops, and layups in the first half. But when Doc put Jokic, when he put PJ on Jokic, it really turned the game around. Sixers had an amazing comeback. George Niang hit a couple tough shots, and Embiid just carrying down the stretch with a couple threes in the fourth quarter, one icing the game with a step back over Jokic.
Yeah, I mean, putting Embiid as the roamer was huge defensively. It was literally everything defensively because the entire game shifted once Embiid, wasn't necessarily a one-on-one defender anymore. He was roaming and he was defending the paint like we know he can do. And that's what we saw. We saw Joel play to his defensive potential, especially in the second half. That's all we need from him. and we're very, very hard to beat when Joel plays to his defensive potential. I would say we're unbeatable. We're the best team in the league when Joel Embiid plays good defense.
Yeah, absolutely. And he baited a couple of lobs, had a couple drew a couple turnovers from Jokic, but that's exactly what you want to see from your star player, dropping 48 points on a national TV game, prime time, dropping 48 points. I think after that game he should be placed number 1 in the MVP ladder, but
Has the MVP ladder come out from NBA.com since the game?
No, it has not. The
They're
last
scared.
one,
They're scared.
that came out was the day before, where Embiid was second, Jokic was first, and surprisingly, James Harden was 8th on that list, which I wasn't expecting because obviously he hasn't been getting too much love this year, especially with
especially
today, not getting any love. But that was probably a top 3 game this year, top 2 maybe. But I was very happy with pretty much everything.
I would argue that game was better for Joel Embiid than the Jazz game earlier in the season.
Absolutely. Well, because the Jazz are like a middle of the pack team, maybe a play-in team. The Western Conference is pretty weak this year, but going against a number 1 seed in the West and absolutely taking care of business, I think it means more than the Jazz game where he dropped 59.
Yeah, the stage and the scene of the game is really what made it for Joel when he had that big of a performance and that big of a game. It's undeniable now. I think Joel is going to be number 1 on the. I think it'll come out the day of this when this drops tomorrow on Friday. So when it comes out, I fully expect Joel to be at number 1 because I mean he proved to everybody that he's better. I mean he proved to everybody he was the better player. So I mean, they totally do 2 different play styles. And there's no question about that. You can't really compare them unless they're playing on the same court together. When they're trying to make the same impact on the same game, and we saw what happened. So we don't get too many chances for it. That's why the game was that magnitude, and the NBA can't turn around and say, "Oh, it's just 1 game." After they put it on rivalry week and hyped it up this much, we don't want to hear about, "Oh, we can't base the MVP off a random game in January," because that's not the Sixers' fault. It was the NBA that did all this hyping up of Embiid versus Jokic and the Sixers and Nuggets becoming some type of rival. So it'd be a shame if the NBA were to go the route of, "Oh, this 1 game doesn't determine anything," the random game in January. So that's what I think that's probably what's going to happen, but I would fully expect Embiid to be number 1 on the ladder.
Do you think the new rivalry week was a success?
Yeah, other than the fact that the Sixers didn't play a rival, I'd love to see them play like the Celtics or the Raptors.
Even though we didn't really, I mean, we played the Nets, but
even them, not that big of a rival.
But I think,
let's be real, the Nets really aren't that big of a rival.
But I think that Sixers versus Nuggets game was so worth it.
I think it was a great game. Still not a rivalry though. It'll never be a rivalry. Just
I think
not how rivalry works.
I think rivalry week was a huge success. We got a ton.
I mean, there was like 10 really good games.
Especially the last game of rivalry week, Celtics versus Lakers, when LeBron didn't get that foul called on him and freaked out. But
yeah, well, deservedly so. He should have got the call. He's LeBron James.
Absolutely. We can move on to the 2 games against the Orlando Magic. Obviously, Monday night they lost. They blew a 21-point lead, and I get it. On Sunday, shout out to the Birds. They're going to the bowl. They're going to the Super Bowl in Arizona. So go Birds. But Sixers were they looked hungover from the night before.
It was a scheduled loss.
It was absolutely a scheduled loss. We just looked pathetic down the stretch of the game.
Yeah. I didn't watch like the middle of the game, and so I was watching the beginning of it, and then I obviously watched the end. So I was thinking when you're up, 37-17, you're like, oh crap. You'd almost rather be up by like 3 in that first half. But we got off to the big lead, relaxed ourselves, and we just played soft. I mean, it is what it is. But like you said, they just were hungover. You could see it. They weren't ready to fight for 4 quarters.
Yeah, and usually
Or 3, really, 3 quarters. They weren't ready to fight for
yeah,
3 of those quarters, and it
yeah.
caught up with them.
And typically I get pretty angry after big blown leads, but I really was not mad after that.
Well, we knew we were gonna get the win back, so it
Yeah,
was
we got the win
yeah.
on Wednesday. Embiid just absolutely destroyed Mo Wagner. And Sixers did what they should do against the Orlando Magic, and that's take care of business. And they did. They won by 11. So that's kind of what you would have wanted to see on Monday, but they were hungover and still drunk from Sunday night because it seemed I think most of the team was at that Eagles game.
Yeah. So there's some things that we can look into for that. Like Maxey, obviously, it's not playing his best right now. But those are some things we expect him to turn around. I think James Harden will come out now with something to prove.
Yeah.
Being snubbed from the All-Star, which we're going to talk about that a little later. So I think there's some things where this team had a little dip in their play, which we saw because they didn't play that great when they beat the Magic, and they definitely didn't play well when they lost to them. So I think there's still tons of room for improvement, especially coming up in this next week. So I think that we dipped down just enough to have another to have another win streak. So there's a positive out of it where we didn't play well at all as a team against the Magic. Both of those games were very subpar for the Sixers standards, but able to go 1-1. It's pretty much all you can ask for, especially when you look at what we did before that.
Yeah, and back to your point about Maxey, I think it might be time to put him back in the starting lineup because he really isn't doing that well with no Embiid or Harden on the court. I mean, he doesn't really have the ability to create for himself, and you can see that with running with the bench squad. So I think he needs to be back in the starting lineup with Embiid and Harden, and I think you'll see a completely different person out of Maxey.
So what I would say to that is I'd rather see a DeAnthony Melton with Embiid and Harden than he would with a DeAnthony Melton on the bench. So I'd rather both of them start and take PJ Tucker out.
I am 100% down with a 3-guard starting lineup. I am definitely not opposed to it.
But, defensively with that backcourt, you still have Melton there, but still, Harden and Maxey still causes problems. But
Yeah.
I would like to see – it's probably not going to happen, but I would like to see them experiment with the 3-guard lineup.
Yeah, and Doc,
if we're being frankly, both of them are better off as starters.
Yeah. And I wanted to ask you, Graham, because in weeks past, you can go back and watch that you said you don't think Montrezl Harrell is that bad.
Yeah.
Do you stand by that?
I don't think he's amazing. I think he has his moments where he can be bad. I think he's the best option we have at backup center.
Well, yeah.
I think Paul Reed sucks. I'm just saying that. No. I think Paul Reed's terrible. I think Montrezl Harrell is also really bad, but he's not terrible. He can play. He has the ability to play really well. Paul Reed in the NBA does not have that ability.
Yes, Montrezl Harrell has the ability to play very well, but he hasn't shown much of that ability to play very well because I don't think he's played well at all. I think he needs, for him to really get up there, is more pick and roll and more time with James Harden, because that would work very well. And the couple of times that we've seen it this year, we haven't seen it too much. It works. Obviously he's a disaster defensively. Every game he's getting beat everywhere. But offensively, I think you have to put him in the right spots to shine.
I think he can work offensively and defensively, and as long as he's not getting attacked, he's okay. Well, actually, as long as he's not getting attacked, he still can play defense, respectable, I guess you could say. Mm-hmm. But as soon as somebody attacks him, then he doesn't know what he's doing. But it's also, how aggressive do you want a team to play? If they go out there and with Joel off the court and they completely change their game plan, it's either going to go, polar opposites for them, which is why Like we saw the Nets, and then their game plan completely shifted with
Mhm.
Montrezl Harrell when he came onto the court a couple weeks ago. When we saw Ben Simmons, who hadn't looked at the basketball game, goes in 3-4 straight possessions, attempts a shot in a paint defended by Montrezl Harrell. That could actually work to the Sixers' favor at sometimes, which it has this season. It has. But, that's not the risk you're willing to take, especially in the playoffs. So I understand why there's the frustration with Montrezl Harrell. I'm frustrated with him as well. He can't catch the ball. Like, he has bad hands.
Mhm.
Like, he'd be great if he could catch the ball on offense. Like, his offensive ceiling would raise so much if he could just catch a pass cleanly, and not fumble it 8 times, then catch it. So there's some things that, like, he's not always in the right spot, like you said. If he can get into those spots, he's going to be way better off, because we have players that will find him when he is in the right spot. But him getting to that right spot has become a challenge. Still not a great option, but the best option at
Yeah.
backup center.
Yeah, and when I really think about Montrezl Harrell, I'm thinking about in the future come playoff time, because playoff time, your weaknesses get exposed. Because teams really, really focus on the team that they're playing, their weaknesses, and they just attack it. So I'm afraid come playoff time that he will not be playable, because teams will just attack, and attack every time that Joel Embiid is not on the floor and Montrezl Harrell is. And
Yeah, I mean,
usually I would say Montrezl in the playoffs would get 10, 12 minutes. And
six at most.
really, you're thinking Embiid plays 40 minutes a game?
I think we have to go Tucker small ball in the playoffs.
And Doc did say that. Doc said he will experiment with a small ball with PJ Tucker at the 5, because he's done that before in Houston.
Yeah.
But come playoff time,
Well,
I'm
that's
afraid
that's a playoff lineup. That's specifically set to give the other team a change up in like game 4 of the series, after they've seen the same rotations for 3 straight games. So I mean, I still think that Montrez, there's no rebuttal to him being a bad playoff player, not wanting him on the court in the playoffs. Like, there's no argument against that. Like, nobody should openly say they want Montrezl Harrell on the court in the playoffs. But if you had to choose between him and Paul Reed, then you could say, yeah. But the trade deadline's coming up, and there should be some
I would
changes made.
absolutely like Montrezl Harrell to be in a different uniform next week,
Preferably in the playoffs against the team we're playing.
preferably in the playoffs. I mean, I think we're set up for disaster with him.
I wouldn't say disaster, but he could definitely cause harm. He could cause harm. I'm not going to go disaster,
because we've seen it so many years. Embiid goes off the floor in playoff time. The backup center goes in, and the other team goes on a huge run.
Oh, we had it. And thanks to Morey, Drummond's no longer here.
Yeah.
Which Tony Bradley's no longer here. So the 2 guys that that didn't do that didn't even stay with the team.
Yeah, so we need a big that can defend and play offense at a normal level. I mean, I don't want to sit here and wait for the buyout market, because there's not too much in the buyout market that can really help you. I don't really know of the buyout candidates right now, but there's never usually
I'm going to tell you right now, there's nobody that's going to help the Sixers win a championship on the buyout market.
Yeah. So
there it is. There you have it.
So come Thursday next week, Daryl Morey and the front office better have a plan, because Kyle Neubeck said that surprisingly they're prioritizing a backup 5, and they're going to try to go out and get one. Hopefully, I really hope, because I think to help us win the championship, you need depth, and I don't feel like we have much, if not any, depth at the backup 5.
Yeah, and I think that you're going to have to go out and find something. And even if you give up a little too much, you have to be okay with it.
And there is players out there. There absolutely is players out there that you can trade for. I mean, hell, Andre Drummond is getting DMPs in Chicago right now. You gotta throw an offer at Chicago's front office. You just have to.
Yeah, I mean, that's all you have to. I would say that if you're ever gonna overpay for a backup center, this year has to be the year to do it.
It'd be now. It would be right now. I mean,
we've already done it with Tucker, so
yeah. I mean, dude, send Daniel House, send Matisse Thybulle, send a second
Paul
round
Reed,
pick, send
Jaden Springer,
and there's a lot of players that can be traded
Mac McClung.
next week.
Is Mac
Can-
McClung technically is he still
I don't
a Sixer? What is
know.
it? Blue
I think
coats?
I
Is
think
he,
it's strictly blue coats.
okay.
I don't think he's on a two-way.
Dang. He'd be a good asset to trade in the dunk
Yeah.
contest. His stock's gonna rise.
But we'll get more into the trade talk later in the episode when we talk about the trade deadline and our targets. And next week we'll have a big episode on that. We'll be recording after trade deadline is already ended. But we saw the news today. If you're watching this, you saw it last night. But Joel Embiid is an all-star reserve. And I think this next thing is worse than Joel Embiid not starting.
Wow.
And that's that James Harden is not an all-star. Drew Holiday is an all-star. Tyrese Halliburton is an all-star. And the 11th seeded Bulls, DeMar DeRozan, is an all-star. Now, if you could explain that to me, I would love it, but it makes zero sense. Maybe Drew, I understand. Maybe, but come on. What are we doing here? And JJ Redick about a couple hours ago quote tweeted something where the coaches don't care who they vote in. They don't care. They take 5 minutes on it because they're focused on the game. And it shows. There was a lot of snubs, especially in the West. But it's frustrating.
Well, really, in my opinion, the biggest snub wasn't even James Harden. It wasn't Trae Young either. It was Pascal Siakam. I feel like he was more than deserving of an all-star spot. And I don't even like Pascal Siakam. So yeah,
I hate
think,
Toronto.
I think there's a lot of examples of where you were talking about, and JJ Redick said coaches just don't care. And it was pretty evident that they just slapped it down on a piece of paper. They looked at some names. They thought it would be right on an all-star jersey, and that's what they went down with. So, it is what it is. I really don't care that much about all-star reserves.
It's just frustrating.
Yeah, it is. You don't get to deserve that, or you don't get the love that they deserve, especially James Harden and Pascal Siakam and Trae Young. But it is what it is. I'm really not that mad about it. That one of the Sixers didn't make the All-Star game. Really, just don't care that much.
If I was a player and you had a contract incentive to make an all-star game, and now you're hearing about coaches, they just don't care. They spend a couple minutes on it. I'd be very frustrated as a player who got snubbed. But Tony,
I would be. Look, I would be too. But one thing about that, like James Harden, I don't think he's going to care either. He's going to go to the studio with like Meek Mill and Travis Scott and hang out with Lil Baby.
Yeah. Tony, I wanted to ask you what your thoughts about James Harden being snubbed was, and who would you have him over in the reserves?
I'll keep it fairly short. In terms of, I do care. James Harden didn't make it. Considering you see the guys that did make it. In terms of guards, you have Drew Holiday, Tyrese Halliburton. I'm pretty sure either one of DeMar DeRozan or Jaylen Brown's probably a guard. You could definitely make the argument Harden could make it over Drew Holiday. That's what I've been seeing all over Twitter. I like Drew Holiday, so I will not slander him, but I can.
I like Tyrese Halliburton.
I also like Tyrese Halliburton,
Yeah.
but
it's hard. It's hard. I would definitely put Harden over Drew Holiday though,
and DeMar.
Yeah,
Harden,
DeMar's probably the one you'd.
Yeah,
say,
DeMar is quite crazy,
especially being the 11th seed and all.
Yeah,
Julius Randle making it is. I can't say I've watched
over
much.
Pascal.
Yeah.
Pascal should have made it over Julius Randle.
I'm not gonna say anything else.
You should say it.
No.
Yeah, but it's frustrating to see. It's very frustrating to see all these guys getting snubbed, especially in the West. De'Aaron Fox, he was snubbed. They're the third seed in the East, and they don't have any All-Stars. That's
They have Sabonis. They have Sabonis.
Oh, Sabonis made it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. But De'Aaron Fox absolutely should have deserved to make it. Jaren Jackson is an All-Star this year. I forget who else.
I can. Do you want me to read them off?
Yeah, can you read off the reserves? The West reserves.
John Moran, SGA, Lillard,
Deserved.
Jaren Jackson, Sabonis, Markkanen, which was I'm in favor of it.
I think
personally.
Markkanen deserved
Deserves it.
and yeah, and Paul George.
I
Those are the
think
reserves.
De'Aaron Fox should have gotten over Jaren Jackson Jr. or Paul George. That's what I think. People were talking Aaron Gordon.
Hell no. That's seeding bias right there. If you say Aaron Gordon,
yeah.
I like.
I will say this. I will say
Paul
this.
George.
You're muted.
Oh, my bad. You can't really use the Embiid All-Stars argument now for MVP. I mean, doesn't have any this year.
Embiid's got no All-Stars.
Doesn't have any this year.
Got no
All I'm
All-Stars
gonna say
on his team. I think that I don't know if that would help his MVP case at all.
Yeah, he's got the 2 seed in the East with no All-Stars.
I think they're the 3 right now. I think Milwaukee has a
whatever it is. Whatever it is, we're the 2 seed. We're better than Milwaukee.
Yeah.
So we're the 2 seed in the East. I'm going to go ahead and say we're the 2 seed in the East, and we have no All-Stars, and Embiid is him.
Yeah.
So there it is.
So trade deadline. Trade deadline's a week. It's a week away. There's been a lot of rumors of a few things. I'll go through them right now. Guy on our team, Matisse Thybulle, he's been in a lot of trade rumors. The Sacramento Kings and the Golden State Warriors are kind of the 2 constant names that I've been hearing that are interested in Matisse. Toronto was interested in Matisse last year. I don't know if they would have any interest in this year. Portland liked Matisse in the offseason, wanted to make a trade for him, but that never happened. There's a bunch of guys that we could see leaving.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think
the next week
Matisse's time has come to an end here.
But here's my thing about Matisse. We need wing depth, right? We absolutely need wing depth. I don't think that's really an argument. But if you're trading away Matisse, you have to know that you're absolutely going to get some wing depth.
Or a backup center. I would give up the wing depth for depth at the 5.
Yeah.
I would love to have both. Would love to have both.
I think I can agree to that.
If we can get a backup center without trading Matisse, I would say we keep Matisse.
Yeah.
And then
I think we can absolutely. I think we get. It would be very easy to get a backup center without trading Matisse. I don't think Andre Drummond would be expensive at all.
If you look at like a Jared Vanderbilt, then it's going to be a bit tougher.
But a couple guys that could go that you could see leaving: Montrezl Harrell, he probably will end up leaving. Daniel House, Jaden Springer, maybe a 2nd-round pick.
I don't know if I've ever gotten excited once when Daniel House has entered the game. Like
he was brought in to be a 3-and-D guy, and he's brought no D and no 3, so he's kind of a useless player. Very disappointing season for.
He brought the D in the double though in the bubble. He was bringing the D.
Yes. Oh. He was. If you know, you know. But could be saying goodbye to a few Sixers, which I always hate. But
I like this. I like saying goodbye to some of these guys. Because
some of them, if it's Montrezl Harrell, I'll drive him to the airport myself. Furkan Korkmaz, you could see leaving.
About time.
Did I say Jaden Springer already?
But you should say him again.
Jaden Springer, because he stinks.
It's pretty bad. He's pretty bad.
Graham loves him, but
he's pretty bad.
He's pretty bad. It hasn't developed.
He's not right for the Sixers. I think he'd be a good player in another organization, that one that has time for players like Jaden Springer.
Yeah, we've talked a few times about Jaden Springer and him being this project player, but he really hasn't shown too much improvement. I mean, sure,
Well, he's too good for the G League.
He could be balling out in the G League, but in the NBA, he hasn't done anything. And I know he's not getting the minutes, but when he does, he's not even that good. He's only had one game. He had the one game where he had like 6 points. He had a nice dunk, played great defense. But other than that one game in like 4 minutes, he's shown really nothing. And I think it's absolutely time to move away from Jade Springer and let him be a project player for somebody else.
He's in the mold of not good enough to be an NBA player, but too good to be a G League player. We have a lot of those guys. Paul Reed being one of them. So yeah, there's some things we have there.
Paul Reed is way better than Jade Springer. So
yeah, well, relatively yes. But like he's not an Isaiah Joe where he's going to go to another team where Isaiah Joe was ready. Like Isaiah Joe was ready to contribute to the Sixers team, but we never let him. We never let him do it. Jade Springer is not only are we not going to let him contribute, he's not ready. So he's not going to Isaiah Joe us. We're not going to trade him, and he's going to become a superstar. So that's not what is what's going to happen. So this is why I'm way more. I don't know how to say this. Like I'm way more like adept to getting Springer out as soon as possible because I think he could bring some assets. Like he could be a really good asset if you're talking about trade deadline. If you want to package in Springer with Korkmaz, I think you could make hay with that. You could get somebody pretty good without giving up Matisse.
Yeah. Do you want to move on to all of our trade targets?
I want Tony to go first. All
right, Tony, get yourself up on camera. Everybody, say hello to the beautiful Tony.
He's already appeared.
Yeah, I've already been here.
I know, but I was just giving you a nice introduction there.
Oh, well, how nice of you.
So we wrote down 3 potential trade targets for the Sixers. They may be in conversation already. They may not be, but let's get into it. Tony, do you want to go one at a time or all 3?
Just give them all 3. Just rip the Band-Aid off.
Fair enough. No centers for me.
Wow.
I know. You guys.
Wow.
You guys have
unbelievable.
Wow.
Don't even.
I already hate your list.
Bad list.
Unreal. I've got Eric Gordon.
Take him off the screen. Oh, okay. Yeah, take him off the screen.
Well, I like Eric Gordon. It's just that trading for him is
Eric Gordon.
Yeah, Eric. I like him. He'd be nice on our team. It's just kind of impossible to trade for him.
Well, he's got injury problems. Old. Don't want him.
Daryl Morey loves him.
Yeah, I think we had. I am so glad we didn't get him in the offseason.
It was almost a done deal, Eric Gordon.
I was so glad we didn't get him in the offseason.
That was in place. That would have been in place of what the
D'Anthony
deal?
Yep.
Yeah.
D'Anthony. So I'm so glad we didn't get Eric Gordon.
Much rather
I think it'd be lazy. I think it'd be very lazy to get Eric Gordon, especially when you have Daniel House on the team. So
yeah,
I don't think that'd be a good trade target. With all due respect, Tony.
That's fair.
With all due respect.
Let's hear your next one.
All right, well, you guys probably won't like this one either. Jay Crowder.
Don't hate it. Don't hate it. I think it's good.
Yeah,
he's just rotten there. I mean,
he's most likely going to be.
He's going to be moved.
He needs to go. He needs to go to a team like the Sixers.
He won't because Morey will sit on his hands. But
yeah, well, because Morey's not good at his job. But I think that he would excel on a team that's fighting. That's not at the number 1 seed, a team that's trying to get to the top, that's like fighting their way, inching and clawing. Every bucket matters. I think depth. Yeah, and I think that Jay Crowder can fit that bill pretty well. Of where we're trying to get to the top, we're not there yet, but we're almost, and he can be the one to bring that type of mentality.
I feel like Jay Crowder has played for half the league.
Was he a Rocket? I don't think he was.
Nah, maybe. I don't think
if he wasn't. If he's not, I mean, I guess
I feel like he's played for half the league.
Yeah.
So
did he play for the Heat, or I just see him in jersey swaps?
I'm pretty sure he played for the Heat.
No, the Heat. I feel like every player's played for the Heat because I've seen at least every player be in a Heat jersey swap one time in their career.
Maybe.
I don't. No.
Can we look this up? Did Jay Crowder play for the Heat?
I'm looking it up right now.
I'll go on to my third one then.
Yep.
My third one.
He did. He did.
Okay.
In 2019, he's played for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 teams. He's played for 7 teams.
Wow. No, he's not a Rocket though.
Was not a. It
Was
was.
not a
He started out his career on the Mavericks, then the Celtics, then a year with the Cavs, 2 years with the Jazz, 1 with the Grizzlies, 1 with the Heat, and then 2 years with the Suns.
So he's the Josh Johnson
Crazy.
of the NBA.
Yeah.
Interesting.
All right, Tony. Let's
My
hear
third one.
that last one. I like that
Right.
second one. That was a good one.
My third one's Josh Hart.
Absolutely.
Nova.
Would be so. It's more of a pipe dream, but yeah, Nova kid.
Nova.
Would have loved him.
I'm on board.
This
I thought
offseason, but
I thought I wouldn't like your three
well,
non-centers.
you took my favorite one, so
I took your favorite one.
yeah,
Oh, that is true.
I'll
I
leave
didn't
that
think-
for you.
okay,
I'll leave that for
yeah,
you.
yeah.
All right, Graham, you're up. Let's hear your potential
So,
trade targets.
My number one target, I don't know if it's who Tony's talking about though. I've got Nas Reed as my number one target.
He's having
just
himself a year.
Energy would be
been
great.
this year.
Would be better than Drummond. Better player than Drummond right now.
I
Would
feel like he'd cost a lot.
Errol,
No,
he is a better version of what Montrezl Harrell brings to the Sixers. Like just better. He's just Montrezl Harrell.
he's around
better.
the same height, right?
Better, yeah, better. They don't. I wouldn't say they have similar play styles, but I would think I would much rather have Nas Reed defensively, but they do a lot of the same stuff, like energy wise, like the dunks that they do and their mannerisms are very similar. But we have that, which is what we like about Montrezl Harrell. We like his mannerisms. We just don't like the way he plays. So I think if you bring the mannerisms to the play, that's what you have Nas Reed for. So I'd like to have Nas Reed on the team. And I think we can get him. He's acquirable. He's on a selling team. Team's not doing.
He has been in trade talks.
He's been in trade talks. He's a guy that the Sixers kind of need right now. Another one talking about Andre Drummond. DNP's in Chicago. They're treating our boy wrong. We should have gotten him in the offseason. Morey's bad at his job. He gave PJ Tucker way too much money. We didn't get Andre Drummond. We need Andre Drummond. Another one because Morey's bad at his job. Tony Bradley. We need Tony Bradley back. Also on the Bulls.
Build around Tony Bradley.
Yeah, we need to build around Tony Bradley. I would really like Tony Bradley on this team. I think he'd be better on this team than what he was on 2 years ago. Because of the way we have much better spacing than we did in 2021. So yeah, I think that Tony Bradley would be better than what he was a couple years ago for the Sixers. So that'd be my last resort of the backup center. So in order, it's Nas Reed, Andre Drummond, Tony Bradley.
Yeah. For my list, I have 2 bigs and a wing. Number one, he's kind of been a hot name around trade deadline, and that's Jared Vanderbilt. He would absolutely help this team rim protection. He's a good defender, a solid passer.
Yeah, I just don't know where he fits.
You can play the 4.
Hey,
I think
if it's better than
he'd be a
Montrezl
great
Harrell,
4.
I don't care. If
But
it's better than Montrezl Harrell,
we don't have a true 4 though. We the way that we're playing, we cannot have a true 4 because when Tobias tries to play like a true 4, he sucks, and that's a lot of it has to do because Tobias can't do that. But even Tobias has his better games when he's playing more of the 3, playing more like the wing. So I don't know if we're capable of having a true 4 with Embiid and then Melton playing the way that he is, and obviously Harden in his pick and roll game. Because we have so much emphasis in movement around the perimeter and letting Embiid cook once he gets into his little pocket in the mid range. That's the only thing I have about Jared Vanderbilt because I think he's a great player and he would help out the Sixers just playing basketball wise. But when you get into schematically in the playoffs, what's the risk to reward with having someone like Jared Vanderbilt where it's tough to bring in power forwards because power forward is like, so many different variants of a power forward. There's no real like if you say a true point guard, somebody's popped into your head. I said true point guard, you probably had like 6 players pop into your head right when I said that. And I can say that about shooting guard, a true center. There's names, but if you say a true power forward, Tony could be thinking of a stretch 4 like a Kevin Love, and then you could be thinking about someone totally different, Justin. So there's some discrepancy there with the 4, which is why I think that we just have to get an upgrade of PJ Tucker.
You make some good points. But a few hours ago, Shams tweeted that the number one probably destination for him is Portland. Portland's been on with talks with with them about Jared Vanderbilt. So we'll see in the next. We'll probably get more information about that in the next couple of days. But my second target, I'm pretty sure Graham said it. Andre Drummond.
I think that's cheating. I think it's cheating.
Why is that cheating?
I don't know if we can use the same target.
Well,
Can
my
we use
last
Tony?
two have already been said.
Tony, can we use the same target?
I was under the impression we weren't. That's why I didn't.
I said
say
Andre
Jared Vanderbilt.
Listen, before
So,
we started
I-
recording, I said
look,
I was going to put Andre Drummond, and I even have a potential trade package that we could get Andre Drummond.
It wouldn't be
for.
the first time Justin's
he
cheated.
keeps it. I think he keeps it.
Hey, just to let you know, not the first time Justin's cheated.
All
Here
right,
and
I
there.
think it's okay if we have the same trade targets. All right, it's not that.
Just
big of a
say
deal.
your package. Just
My
be fancy
package
and do your package.
would be Daniel House and a second round pick. I think that's enough for a guy that's getting DMPs.
Possibly.
Oh man,
I don't know though. Maybe.
What's
I don't
Daniel
know.
House gonna be?
I don't know. Like I don't know. I don't expect them to want a second round pick that badly that they're going to trade a guy that they're not playing for a guy that they're not going to play. Like they're not
who
going
knows?
to play Daniel House.
Daniel House could thrive.
Morey
in
doesn't have that.
Chicago.
No, he's not going to. But Daryl Morey doesn't have that touch anymore to do that.
He likes losing our second round.
Yeah, he doesn't. He doesn't like those type of trades.
All right. Well, it was. Hey,
I think we'll have
hypothetical.
to we'll have to give the Bulls someone they could actually use because they're not necessarily gonna sell all their assets unless they do a fire sell. If they trade Zach
They
LaVine,
might.
if they trade Zach LaVine first, then that deal's gonna
And
work.
he could potentially be traded.
Well, you have to wait on that.
Yeah,
But
but
you also don't want to sit on Daniel House in that second round pick because you could package that exact same one with Jaden Springer and get someone else.
all right.
So,
But
it's risky. It's risky. I would love it. I would love it. It's risky though.
My third one was Josh Hart, but Tony already said that, so I'll say somebody else.
Do you not have a package?
No, I don't have a package.
You're disappointing me.
It would be a bigger package.
It'd be Matisse Thybulle for sure. It would be Matisse Thybulle.
It would be Matisse because Portland loves Matisse. He would be gone. Some picks would be gone. Maybe a couple other guys like Jane Springer and Furk would go. But another guy, I'll just give you a bonus since you already heard those last two guys. Mason Plumlee. I don't think Mason Plumlee. I think he'd be a great backup. I just think he'd be good.
Yeah, I mean, I get the thought. It looks good in theory, but on the court, I just don't think it's going to work.
All of this is in theory.
That one especially is in theory. Oh, yeah, you're right. But that one especially in theory, you might look at it for like a second, think of it as a good idea, but really, I just don't see it ever panning out.
I mean, it's an upgrade. Not
Hey,
that much of one, but
that's all we're looking for. Hey. That's all we're looking for. When you make trades, you
could just get Tony Bradley, who just has.
You could probably get Tony Bradley for
like we need a. I don't. Yeah, but Tony Bradley has a skill set.
Yeah,
Mason Plumlee would be much better if he was playing 23 minutes a game for us. We're not. We need someone that's going to be good for 12. And I think I'd rather 12 minutes of Tony Bradley than 12 minutes of any Plumlee ever existed.
I don't know about that. I think I'd take.
I think that's pretty clear.
I think
you want the skill set center. Plumlee is not a skill set center.
I think he's better than Tony Bradley.
Yes, I think he's a better player than Tony Bradley.
Then what are we? If he's a better player,
12,
what's the argument?
Man.
I think that Tony Bradley can give you 12 better minutes. If you need
I think Plumlee could give you 12 better minutes.
There's still going to be bad minutes. I mean, we're comparing trash to garbage right now.
All these guys are bad.
Yeah, all of them are not playing.
Not good. All these guys aren't good.
Yeah,
except Josh Hart.
I can't believe we're arguing Tony Bradley and Mason Plumlee on the podcast. That's insane.
All right.
Oh my god.
Well, do you guys have any other bonus trade targets potentially?
Ala Abdel Nabi with somebody.
Ala needs to go.
And Springer for Josh Hart.
I will trade my life for Josh Hart.
I will carpool Montrez and Ala to the airport.
I'll drive them all the way to where they're traded to. I will drive them. They can go. They can go. Tony, you got any other trade targets? Any fun names?
I just need Maury to do something, man. Please,
Let
I'm
Maury
begging
cook.
you. Get
Let
these
Maury
get
cook.
these terrorists off my team, man.
Maury cannot cook, by the way.
He
Not
did
cannot
cook when he first got here. He
And then he
absolutely did
He hasn't done anything since
Well, that's because
Maxey's
everybody could do that.
crap.
He inherited
He
something
cooked
that
with
was
the
so
Harden
bad.
trade.
It was so bad. We gave up Drummond and Seth Curry.
He didn't cook this offseason, though.
We should not have given up Seth Curry. I'm still so mad
Yeah,
Seth Curry's not
the
on this
Harden
team.
the Harden trade
actually-
was like
I
given
really
to
think
him,
Seth
man.
comes back in the offseason. I think he comes back in the offseason.
I really hope so.
The window is now, though.
If we don't fire Doc Rivers, then yeah. But
We got another year of James Harden with us. He's not going back to Houston next year. If we don't win the championship, he will not go back to Houston, because you go back to Houston and you just forfeit your chances of ever winning a ring. And I don't think he wants to do that because he wants to win a ring. So I think he will accept his player option.
100%, I think he's going to. I really don't think that's a question.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't want to flirt with the possibility at all.
Yeah.
I don't think any of us want to find out. You know, we've all
Is that
seen
all?
We've all seen the meme.
Is that all we got for today's episode?
I believe so. Well, let's talk about one last thing. Sixers upcoming games. Will you be in attendance for some of these coming up?
Next week, next Friday against the Knicks. That's the next one I'm going to.
Yeah. So that'll be at home because we know we play the Knicks on the road.
Yeah, we play them this upcoming weekend.
Yeah, so I got it right here. Spurs today will be on the road.
Will be an easy win, or it should be an easy win.
So we lost to the Spurs at the very beginning of the season. So
that was when
it's like the second game of the year where I was panicking.
We were trust me, we were all. I really didn't expect from us to go from 12-12 to what is it, 32-17. I did not expect this leap.
I'm trying to think of the last time we played in San Antonio.
That was the beginning of the season, right? Or was that home?
It was a home game
Last year, then.
So last year we played.
We haven't played there in a long time.
Yeah, like Charlie Brown Jr. played 27 minutes.
Oh my god!
I'm looking at it now.
Furkan
had 17 points in 37 minutes.
There you go. That's a fake performance if I've ever seen one.
Joel had 38 and 12. So that was the last time. So the time before that, when we played San Antonio, it was the Ben Simmons game winner in 2000.
Oh my god! Was that the tip layup?
Yeah, the tip layup where he drew true charges and then tipped the layup in to win. That's all I think about now when we play in San Antonio is the Ben Simmons game winner.
So we play the Spurs and then who?
Yeah, and then we play the Knicks at Madison Square Garden.
And then what's our next two games?
And then we have Celtics on the road on Wednesday, 7:30. It's probably an ESPN game if I had to guess.
Give me a 2-1.
And then we have the Knicks at home, and then we have the Nets on that Saturday. So we go back-to-back Knicks-Nets, both at home. Oh, actually, no, Nets on the road in Brooklyn.
Give me your record prediction for those games.
Man, that's a tough one. I also want to throw in the Rockets on Monday the 13th to give us another win on that record. So 6 games we're looking at, and I think that we should.
Spurs is a win.
Realistically, Spurs is a win. Rockets is a win. The Knicks probably split, and then we split with the Celtics and Nets. Preferably, we beat.
I'd like to beat the Nets again.
I'd rather beat the Celtics.
Oh, I'd rather beat the Celtics than the Nets. But
if you had to choose between beating the Celtics, losing to the Nets, or losing to the Celtics, beating the Nets,
come on,
exactly.
I'm beating the Celtics 10 times out of 10.
I don't think we're beating both of them here, and I think that we split.
No, but if it happens, I'll be on top of the world.
Oh, for sure.
So, what game do we have a game on Thursday or Friday?
We have a game Friday.
Friday, we might be shorthanded. So,
why do you say that? That's the game that you're going to.
That's the game. That's the first game after the trade deadline. So we might be shorthanded.
Oh, well, yeah, I guess so.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully we are. Yeah, but that's the home game against the Knicks.
Yeah, we should beat the Knicks because we own,
Yep.
or Joel Embiid owns the Knicks.
Yeah. So next time we talk, there'll be a couple of games.
If
there'll be
anything,
3 games.
If anything crazy happens this weekend, we'll have an episode out on Tuesday, because we can record on Monday. But if not, we'll see you next week on Thursday. The trade deadline special is next week. I'm very excited. Tony, are you excited?
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you. Actually, let's
I want to give a
get
shout
that.
out real quick. Want to give a shout out to the Sixers for only playing 1 game on Thursday in February. We only have
when is that?
we only have
record on Thursdays.
Yeah, we only have 3 more Thursday games the rest of the season.
Mm-hmm. And also, big shout out to the Eagles.
Go Birds.
Big shout out to the Eagles. They beat the 49ers. I think it was 31-7. All right.
Yep.
Well,
Yep.
hopefully we win the Super. Tony, you think we win the Super Bowl?
Of course.
I'm leaning yes. I will never be 100% yes because it's Patrick Mahomes on the other side of the ball. But I feel good. Graham?
Yeah, I'll be devastated if we lose.
So will I. I'm gonna go to Philly for it. But I think that's all we have for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. Harden Snubbed Seeds from the Spectrum.
It was snubbed.
Oh, he was
Absolutely.
absolutely
He was
snubbed.
snubbed. I don't care, but he was snubbed.
Make sure to follow our socials right there in the bottom left at SFTS Podcast and underscore in the Instagram name. Make sure to also show some love to our TikTok because we're always posting clips there. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend. Pro Bowls this weekend.
I would say go Birds, but
I don't think anybody watches a Pro Bowl. But
I'm gonna say go Birds anyway. So go Birds.
Go Birds.
Go
Go
Birds.
Birds. Have a good one.
Even though it's not gonna be Sunday, go Birds.
Go Birds.